What are we talking about?
Brendan's like a director.
Okay, you're live.
Okay, hello everyone, this is Dominic Parma, Superintendent. This is our October 6th Board of Education meeting. You're not gonna be able to see everybody, they're in the room. Two of our board members are participating remotely, Sigal Negrin and Butch Jamali. And in the room is our board president, Dr. Kaplan, our vice president, Jill Levine, trustee Gina Piskin, trustee Linda Wilk, trustee Nicole Vendetti. So the whole board is participating in this meeting. I'm going to turn it over to the board president.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everybody to our October meeting. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Education meetings from August 25th, September 8th, and September 10th.
Motion?
Gina with the motion, second? Jill with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Like to make a motion to approve the treasurer's report for August 2020.
Motion?
Linda, motion, second?
Second.
Jill, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Like to make a motion to approve the claims audit report of August 2020.
Motion?
Gina, thank you, second.
Second.
Nicole, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the statement of paid claims.
Motion?
Jill with the motion, second. Linda,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that brings us to the auditor's report.
So tonight we have with us, Pete Rodriguez of Collins Danowski. He is the senior auditor, to doing our annual, audit of financial statements for the school district. And Pete will do a summary of the audit reports for the board. All right, Pete, you're on. We're gonna unmute you, hang in there. Can't get him?
He's still muted.
Pete, you need to unmute on your side, I think.
I'm not
There
good
you
at
go.
jet.
All right,
Okay, so
you're on.
you hear me now, great. Okay, so again, we're the external auditors for the Merrick Union Free School District. Our job is to audit the financial statements and express an opinion on those financial statements. So what the opinion does, it provides the reader of the financial statement with a level that they can rely on the numbers. Allows the reader to assess the financial condition of the district. So a clean opinion doesn't necessarily mean that you have strong financials. It means that the reader can rely on it and make their own decision as far as the well-being of the school district. So what is a financial statement audit? It's the accumulation of evidence that supports the numbers on the financial statements. Your trial balances, your books, envision, you have balance sheets, you have P&L, you have revenues, expenses. Our job is to gather evidence that supports those numbers on the statement so we can come to a conclusion and issue our opinion. So as an example, cash is your largest asset. So what do we do with cash? We have the treasurers log into the bank so we can see live the amount of cash that's in the bank account on June 30th. We can trace that to the bank recs, make sure that the bank recs are prepared properly and that all the reconciling items are appropriate. Revenues are your two revenues. The two main revenues are property taxes, STAR, and state aid. Probably 90% of your revenues. And we can tie the property tax into your approved levy and your tax cap calculation. State aid, we can go onto the state aid website and we can confirm, what was paid to the district, make sure it's been recorded properly on the district's books. So revenues are kind of easy. Pension liabilities, we can confirm with TRS and ERS. So again, what we're trying to do, all three of those, everything I mentioned so far, we're trying to go outside the district to get information about the numbers that should be on your financial statements, third-party collaboration. Okay, payroll and vendor payments. We're going to test those transactions. We'll look at the controls that you have over payroll and look at the controls you have over payments to vendors. We will we'll talk with the claims auditors, see what they're finding out. If you have so that will help in our risk assessment. Other account balances, we do a lot of detailed testing of balances. As an example, accounts payable. Again, we sample, but we go through, we're looking at high dollar amounts and making sure that payables are recorded in the proper period. And then we do a lot of analytic procedures, mostly on expenditures, looking at this year compared to last year, this year compared to original budget. Where are the variances? Are there any variances that we should look into? So all this is leading up towards gathering enough information that we, as auditors, eventually feel comfortable that we can express our opinion. So the opinions that we expressed on your financial statements this year was what's known as an unmodified opinion. It means everything's fairly presented, the statements are prepared in accordance with GAAP, and there's no material misstatements within those financial statements. So the numbers that are in the financials can be relied upon to do an assessment of the financial condition of the district. Okay. There's also a report in the financial statement on the government accounting government auditing standards. Okay, and this report requires us to do some additional work that the professional standards don't require. They require us to, comment on your internal controls over financial reporting and your compliance with laws and regulations. So as we're going through the audit, doing our risk assessment, we're looking at internal controls. If we were to come up and find something that we felt was a material weakness, it would be stated in that report to the government. We didn't come across any instances of material weaknesses in your internal control structure, and we came across no instances of non-compliance with laws, regulations, grants. So it was very clean reporting. We issued a management letter. There was 3 or 4 comments last year. The majority of them were cleared, and this year there's only 1 minor comment about stack filings. So I think the audit went very well, and the district's in good financial shape. Questions?
No, I think you answered our questions previously, but thank you for your report, and thank you to Jennifer and the business office for doing everything you can to oversee our finances effectively. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pete.
Pete, do I understand it correctly that now the draft that we have gets finalized and then we get the finalized copy?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll put it on our letterhead and we'll ship it over to Jennifer, and you'll get copies of the final report. And then you'll have PDFs, and you'll be able to file them with the State Education Department by October 15th.
And we're going to
Great.
post them on the website.
Right,
Say
yeah.
that again, Jennifer?
We're also going to post them on the website. So
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, all of our audit reports are on the website. So as soon as we get the final report, it'll be posted.
Thank you for that. So is there a motion to approve the auditor's report?
Motion. Second.
Jill with the motion, Nicole with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That brings us to a highlight of board service work.
There you go. So the month of all months, October, is the month that Governor Cuomo has designated in recognition of school boards. Now, that really should be every month, but this is your month. So I personally, on behalf of the staff, administrative team, faculty of the Merrick School District, would like to thank you all, both those in the room with me and the 2 of you on the TV, for the service you've done really all the time I've worked with you. This is a tremendous board. It's been a pleasure. I think that you do more for the community than the community even realizes, and never has even reached a level that it met this summer when you all deeply involved with the planning of how to reopen these schools. So again, I thank you. On behalf of everyone, we thank you, and we have a little bit of a gift for you that is appropriate for these days. Just a minor token, yeah? Yeah, of course.
I'm in. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So,
Oh,
could you hold it up so we, the gift for the board was some Merrick customized masks.
Love it, love it.
They are limited edition. And some, of our signature hand sanitizer.
Great. Yes, thank you,
Yep.
very,
There
very
you go. And it's the right color, right?
Rally, Nancy. Perfect
Thank
gift.
you.
Right up your.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, and I know
And again, thank you for all of you've done for the district.
Thank you, and I know I speak for the board when I say it's really our pleasure to serve the community and to work with you and our administration. Thank you. Okay, with that, I'd like to, call on Jim O'Beirne for the James Bond report.
Good evening. This is my report for October of 2020. This evening, we formally opened Chatterton's new addition. The space has been in use since the beginning of the school year, however. The site work at both Birch School and Lakeside School is in the punch list phase. At Lakeside, the district is investigating adding a walkway across the center island within the main entrance and adding additional drainage by the front entrance. By observing walking traffic, it appears a walkway across the island would be beneficial. The exterior light poles are at the installer, but they await the lighting fixtures, which I understand are still in Mexico. I have asked for an anticipated date of delivery. A meeting was held last Wednesday with JNS and Stalco, two contractors for the heating and air conditioning project, to discuss the remaining items that need to be completed on the air conditioning and toilet renovation project. Including in the meeting were personnel from BBS, school construction consultants, along with district personnel. I still constantly check the building management system for proper operation of the classroom unit ventilators and split air conditioning units. Arrow Window is awaiting the delivery of windows for the following spaces: Lakeside Gymnasium to replace non-operating fixed windows with operating windows, Chatterton Emergency Escape casement windows to replace large double-hung emergency escape windows, and replacement windows and panels above the windows in the administration building to eliminate water infiltration. Lead time for the new windows, however, was 16 weeks, but I'm being told due to COVID, it appears to be increasing. And that's my report for October of 2020.
Thank you so much, Jim, and it was really great to, be part of the opening of the Chatterton addition tonight. And I just want to reiterate our thanks to you for everything that you have done, not only to see that project through, but everything that, you do for the district. So thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
That brings us to good and welfare. Congratulations to Nancy Russo, teacher at Chatterton School, on the birth of her grandson, Liam Joseph. Congratulations to Susan Watson, teaching assistant at Lakeside School, on the birth of her granddaughter, Ella Page Hirsch. Sincerest condolences to Jennifer Bennett Lee, teacher at Lakeside School, on the passing of her mother, Dorothy Bennett. And sincerest condolences to Raymond Serbone, cleaner at Chatterton School, on the passing of his mother, Gloria Serbone. That brings us to hearing of visitors on items in the superintendent's report. We don't have any emails, and there are no hearing of visitors. That brings us to the superintendent's report. I'd like to make a motion to approve items 12A through 39.
Motion.
Second.
Gina with the motion, Jill with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve items B1 through 5? Jill made the motion, second. Nicole with the second, all in favor? That brings us to, items D1 through 3. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion?
Linda made the motion, is there a second? Second. Jill, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Butch, don't give up. Is there a motion
give it up.
to approve items B1 through 4?
Motion.
Butch,
Yeah.
the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Gina with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that brings us to our second hearing of visitors. We have received no emails tonight, so that will bring us to reports of Belmore American High School District Board members.
Okay. So the high school district, Belmont Merrick High School District is doing well. We have, this Friday will mark 2 weeks that we've been in full with the option to be virtual if they choose to be.
And hybrid.
And
They
hybrid,
wanted-
right, and hybrid. Everything is going smoothly. The Belmore Merrick Broadcasting, had an exciting week, I think it was last week, when Nassau County Executive Laura Curran visited the program and got interviewed by the students. I'm pretty sure the interview is on the website if anybody wants to see that, so that was very exciting. And as we are trying to keep things as normal as possible, Cheryl Fontana, Director of Fine and Performing Arts, shared a video to the Board of Education of students performing in the auditorium singing 12 feet apart, so, and wearing masks. So wearing a mask and singing 12 feet apart, but they sounded great even with the mask, and you can find that on YouTube. Again, this Friday will mark 2 weeks that the schools have had full in. Belmore Merrick has had 3 schools named as the 2019-2020 recognition schools by the New York State Education Department for their high academic and achievement and progress. And basically, we're just taking every day, step at a time, communicating with the parents, everything seems to be steady, which is what we want. And our next meeting is tomorrow night, October 7th, at Brookside School. We have a large auditorium there, so we can have a certain amount of visitors, I guess you would call them. And that's it.
Okay, thank you,
Did I say
Gina.
anything? Did I miss?
Nope, you pretty much captured it all. We're happy to be back in school. And, you know, I would just say that our ability to stay in school really depends very much so on what our children are doing outside of school. So I would just like to remind everybody that, you know, we are certainly, you know, very much still right in the middle of managing COVID-19 and all its implications. So as much as we can, let's try to be as careful as we can. I would say that we just received an email just moments ago. We will address that in old business, so thank you for sending that in. That brings us to legislation.
Legislation is the same story. Write to your federal legislators to please beg, ask, demand that money be sent to the states to help with the education process. And it also is helpful to write to state legislatures asking for more money for education.
Thank you. Thank you. That brings us to reports of board members. Anybody with anything?
I just want to thank the board and our administrators for getting us back to school, and all of our teachers and staff. They've done just a phenomenal job, and it's been amazing watching it come to fruition. I have 2 kids in 2 different schools and 1 in middle school, but it's just the way they've been handling it. The kids took to it right away. They've done a great job, and the couple of bumps that we hit in the road, they really handled it very swiftly and very well. So I just wanna thank the administrators and the staff, they've done fantastic.
Yeah, I just want to follow up with that too. You know, I think it's a real credit, you know, not only to all of the planning and the committees, but what the staff is, you know, making our buildings feel like every day. And I've only heard positive things. I've also heard very positive things about the remote program. And I think people feel that we are doing all that we can do from an educational standpoint. So thank you very much for all of that.
I'd like to follow up with that. Obviously, I agree, just by saying that, speaking to people in other districts on Long Island, we're very, very fortunate here. And that's only because of all of the work that everybody has put in, our administrators, our teachers, our parents, our board, everybody, because not every district is even close to having what we have, and they're very envious. They're really very envious, the people that I've spoken to, so just a big thank you to everybody for letting us do this.
I have a comment. So this afternoon, I don't know if they can hear me, this afternoon, we went and did the ribbon cutting ceremony at Chatterton School, and, for the new wing that was put on. And as Dom and Nancy so nicely said at the ribbon cutting ceremony, this was something that we started 4 years ago or 5 years ago. The building looks absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy that the kids don't have to go down to the reading garden in the basement anymore. And that you know, all the therapies can be in those nice classrooms. It looks absolutely beautiful. And thank you, Jim O'Byrne, if you're still on, all the administrators. Sal, we're recognizing you right now.
Sal, my fault before, sincerest
No.
apologies, but,
All of the administrators, and thank you, Dom, for making sure it happened and went smoothly.
yeah. Definitely know, Sal, you put your heart and soul into that, so thank you. That brings us to old business.
Our new business first.
Oh, new business, sorry. Anybody with new business? I thought that was new business that we did.
That was report of board members.
Oh, sorry, new business?
So, in a new, first of all, I'm glad to hear so many positive comments about the opening of school. We've gotten, similar positive comments from numerous families. We've got some good constructive criticism as well. We were able to successfully open school, go through our phase-in period, fully open in-person school. The remote program is also doing well. First couple weeks, there was kind of a settling of some people moving into it and some people moving out of it, but we are pretty solid and settled now. We had a little bit of a bumpy road in setting up specials for the remote program, particularly art, because as you probably see at the high school district and is happening all across the state, is it's very difficult to get staff. We've been losing people. So we finally now have sufficient art staff to get it all squared away. So they're starting art in the remote program, so that's settled. We have weathered 2 positive cases of COVID-19 among our staff members, many quarantines of staff and children. We have been able to reorganize and keep instruction going solidly. We've been able to keep everybody in school, which is better than some of our neighbors are doing. So we've been really happy about that. We're continuing to work with any suggestions people give us. Yesterday, the administrative team met with the PTA, started talking about what the near future looks like, whether the lunch program can restart at some point, whether cultural art activities can start, whether other PTA activities can start, and we're also looking at all the extracurriculars, and in the near future, being able to restart those things. So it's been a great starting point. For those of you who are superstitious, knock on wood, throw salt over your shoulder, whatever you do. But I think we're really moving in the right direction at this stage of the game.
Great. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to old business, Charles Street entrance.
Okay, so I know we just got an extensive email a few minutes ago from one of the neighbors with some of their concerns. So since the start of school, I think a number of board members have sat out and watched the Charles Street entrance. I've been there. We've had other administrators watch the entrance. We invited Councilman Carini, who came with his aide, and he brought a specialist from the town of Hempstead Traffic Division. They watched an arrival. It seems that for the most part, and all due respect to the writer of the email, what we're seeing is that for the most part, it is working well. Our friends on Babylon Road are still a little concerned that traffic's jammed up on their end, that this has only relieved them a tiny bit. But it is working well. There's rarely a backup too far up Babylon Road. Afternoons are very minimal. In the morning, the arrival process starts at maybe 8:25. By 8:50, every kid's in the building. There's probably only a 10-minute at most window in the middle of that, maybe 15 minutes on a rainy, bad day when there is any kind of traffic, so it's flowing through well. The meeting with the folks from the town yielded a couple of suggestions. Suggestion number one, which I am in agreement with, is that we make it a one-way, so it's only in, and that it's not out at all. The town is looking at getting the road repaved because it is still a mess. The traffic division individual indicated that some signs need to go up on that road, that it's a school zone to slow people down. The reality is, since that has been a walker entrance, those signs should have always been there. They're just, for some reason, they weren't there. They are looking at where the appropriate placements of crosswalks would go on the block. Again, something that probably should have been there all along because students have been walking through those gates. So the town's recommendation really is let it flow. Don't make it an exit because that'll just help any of the potential jam up. And they'll do their part of working towards pavement, signage, potentially crosswalks. So the recommendation to the board is to do exactly that, that in the next week or so, we get out our no exit signs that we have that used to be in the front on Babylon Road. We put them in place, that Mrs. Trenchney informs the Lakeside community that we are making a change, that you will not be able to exit. And functionally, we've been keeping them from exiting by trying to direct everybody in the other direction. And that we should be able to ease some of the burden of the arrival for the Babylon Road people and also just the flow of traffic for our families as well.
And we do have someone monitoring that gate.
We have a security guard at that gate.
And when are the gates closed?
The gates basically open roughly 8-ish, depending on when the custodian gets out there. So they're definitely ready for arrival. And then the custodians are closing them sometime between when kids are out, 3:15, and 4:30. Again, really kind of when they have the opportunity to get out there. So the gates are closed all along.
Okay. And, I have one other question. On Babylon, is it's still a one-way? You can't go out on Babylon, can you?
You can't exit our parking lot on Babylon through the road. You have to go around the loop
That
to the end.
stays the same, even.
Yep. Traffic has been heavy at all three of our schools, because more parents are transporting. Our problem really on the Babylon Road piece, the biggest problem, is that as people leave, because their light turns to manage the Merrick Road piece, sometimes that has backed up all the way to the loop because of people exiting. So that kind of adds a little bit of flow. Yeah, it's not an everyday problem. It really kind of is when parents coincidentally arrive. So it's doing fairly well.
Okay. So when will it be communicated that it's only one way? Because I do want to recognize the board has heard, certainly from the Charles Street residents, that there are concerns. So as much as we can ameliorate those concerns by communicating to the Lakeside families that it's one way, that they can't be coming halfway down the block, dropping off their kid and then making a U-turn on the block. The sooner we can get, signage out there, the better.
And it's closed after school's out and all weekend, correct? And all day vacation and all summer.
Yeah.
All summer, that.
Yeah, we didn't set up a through street here. We opened the gate onto the parking lot.
So, when school's out, when there's vacation, throughout the summer, that gate will be closed. It's only during the school hours.
Yes.
You might have answered this before, but is it designated a school zone? So would the speed limit be lowered on, I mean, I know they're low on the side streets, but I think in a school zone, you can't go more than 10, 15.
So I believe the traffic person said it will be someplace between 15 and 20 miles an hour posted on the road. Because it really should have always been a school zone, spot.
And if the community could be alerted to please yield to any walkers
Mm-hmm,
on Charles Street.
mm-hmm.
Okay, any other comments?
Oh, and just to directly answer your question, because you asked when. So I think it is reasonable that, by sometime early next week, Mrs. Trenchny can have out notice to the families that this is gonna be a change, and all the safety considerations as well.
If we can get it out even
So,
this
yeah,
week, that would be
yep,
great.
yeah.
Okay, any more comments or questions?
Yeah, I do have one other old business item that I want to get back to, and this is
Okay.
something that arose during the summer, and that is, incidents at Chatterton in the evening.
Mm.
So I just actually had 2 residents write me about things that were going on that I was well aware of. So as you're aware, during the summer, we put on, we contracted with Wisdom, which is our security company. We had them put a guy with a car who hits the other 2 buildings, but primarily located at Chatterton. We were having regular, nightly issues with large groups of young people on bicycles, and then another group of people in cars racing around the parking lot. And custodians reporting not heavy vandalism, but minor vandalism, garbage, et cetera. So we cracked down on that. It quieted down, it basically quieted down once school was reopened. Secondary school was reopened during the week. We were still having issues on the weekend. We have the security people there, plus our alarm company monitors the cameras at night. And we were really up to daily calls to the police department, with the police department responding to move people on. That's improved slightly, but over the weekend, we had another incident where the alarm company calls Jim, sends me and him pictures, and basically goes through this process of notifying the guard, who might have been like down here at that point. They come up, and for the most part, they're able to move people on. Occasionally, they have to call the police because people are resistant to the concept, but it really has not changed the fact that still people are gathering there. So we're going to continue the security presence. We were originally going to phase that out. So we're going to continue the security presence through at least the end of November, when it gets cold, and see if along the way that changes. But, we're going to make contact with the police department too about being a little more assertive in informing these individuals that they can't come back night after night.
Do our cameras capture who's out there? Because we've been pretty effective in the past with sharing that information with the high school districts and identifying people.
The cameras at night are not really good enough unless they're really close to the school. They're not at that level it's a long distance between the school and middle of the parking lot, the school and the playground. Even with the camera we added in the parking lot, it's not giving that fidelity where you'd be able to see somebody. It gives enough fidelity to know that there's people, that there's a car, there's an individual, there's people on bicycles. So enough for the camera monitors to know there's people hanging out and they got to be moved on. So I just wanted to bring that up to the board.
Thank you for that.
And plus, for any of those families who live in the Chatterton area out there, please, if you have adolescents, or, talk to them about this and have them talk to their friends, that they really should not be on Chatterton grounds after hours.
All right.
That's all I've got.
Okay, with that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Jill,
Second.
Gina,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Butch, you object?
Okay, Brendan, shut it down.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night, guys. Good night.